Welcome to my Economics Chit Chat channel today. I'm going to speak about a very interesting topic that's about on the corporate governance standards post the COVID-19 era. Now we have been seeing that of late many companies have been trying to redesign their work model, bring in as much as benefit and facilities for their employees. So it has become an order of the day for the companies to come up with new working models that would be better for their employees. But the question that still lingers in the mind of each and every one of us is that what would be the standards of working? How would the management cope up with this? What would the management do in order to maintain those standards and so on? Now, if you look at all the top companies in India as well as abroad, all of them have been fighting for one simple thing called as sustainability. How are they going to sustain? How are they going to develop? And how are they going to make a progress? So the developmental economics, when you speak about in the organization, the economic progress of an organization is primarily built upon the core values and principle that the organization is going to follow. So when you look at the economics of organization, it's not just about the finance, HR or marketing areas that we are going to talk about, but it is going to be about the corporate governance practices that they have been following for so many years that can make the organization sustain for the remaining 100 years to come. Recently today, there was a news announcement stating that a new CEO and managing director has been appointed for HDFC Bank, who will be taking over Aditya Puri very shortly. Now, if you look at HDFC Bank as an example here, it has stood as an iconic bank with excellent practices, with excellent standards operating procedures, and that's the reason probably this is one of the banks that is highly respected in the financial sector, and it has come up with such a good name, it has come up with such a good returns to the investor all time long. Now this is not just an example, but this is a question, this is an important factor for every single company as what they are going to do in the coming years. What are the standards and procedures that they are going to follow in order to keep themselves strong and make a rapid progress altogether? Few of the suggestions which I would like to share with you today is that most of the companies until the COVID happened had only understood and survived because they wanted to know more about the profitability ratios. But after COVID, they have now started understanding the importance of human connectivity, collaboration. It has now been a practice among most of the organizations to try and connect with all their employees, find out their standards of living, how they are doing, how they are overcoming the pandemic crisis altogether. So this is the right time for most of the organization to pick up some good human resource values and start imbibing. Earlier, companies were very happy about the factor by just naming the headcount or by just talking those big ratios or big numbers that they have achieved over the past quarters. But this is the time, economically speaking, now they are going to talk about sustainability. They are going to speak about all these factors, keeping in mind the people, the limited resources, the limited access and the limited transportation in mind. So now what is going to happen is that the corporate governance principle of open communication, trust, human factor, building a rapport with each and every segment as far as possible is now going to make a big difference in the coming era. So going forward, the understanding of each and every vertical, the functioning of it, how we need to make a progress in development, how do we need to understand each other's need, collaborate and work are going to be the new guiding principles of the organization. So it is very important that all of us spend some time in terms of building a greater organization, a greater value altogether. So it is very, very important for all of us to understand at this juncture that we are going to do something superior. We are going to do something miraculous in nature. We are now going to understand the true value of integrity, the spirit of working together, and the concept of team building. So this is the right time I would like to tell to all my dear friends, all my colleagues, that the governance of the organization is now going to be on the mutual trust, on the mutual dependence. Earlier, we were only dependent on machines, we were only dependent on technology, but this is the time period where we are going to depend on the human intuition, on the human value. We are now going to respect the human feelings, and we are going to build an organization which is going to sustain with our thoughts, with our hard work altogether. So going forward, the surprise factor, the surprise package for most of the companies would be that we are going to stay away from the office building, but we are going to stay as connected as possible. So it is not going to be a greater day or a greater time going forward that where we are going to see a global integrated village where we are going to connect ourselves with the best practices as far as possible. So last but not the least, I would like to emphasize upon again the open communication factor, which will actually help the organization to understand each other and start building a rapport. So all my wishes and all my thought process with my dear viewers is that please do share your opinions, please do feel free to think about on this line, and please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. All the best, and let's stay connected together forever. Thank you again.